We're ready to start whenever you are, Josh. We're good? All right, well, thank you everybody for coming out. I'm going to give a short presentation here on carnivorous plant dormancy, hopefully answer any questions you guys have. Going to try to keep it concise because I know we're all excited about the raffle and we're all excited about these plants that are for sale here. So we'll jump right into it. So we're going to ask, what is dormancy, right? So dormancy is when the plants stop or slow their growing processes to prepare for unfavorable conditions. So something like freezing weather, really dry weather, or like a lack of nutrients. So basically what this means is they go to sleep for a little bit. For carnivores, the majority of these guys are going to go dormant in the winter, but there are some outliers like tuberous sundews that go dormant in the summer. And then there are some sundews and other plants that if it gets too dry, they'll kind of die back and go dormant until it's moist again, and then they'll come back whenever the conditions are better. And if you have tropical or subtropical carnivores, these guys aren't going to go dormant, but you'll probably notice a slowdown in their growth. This is totally normal. It's just a reaction to less light, less heat. They'll still keep doing their thing. You just want to be careful if it gets real cold where you're at. And so you might be asking, okay, well, what goes dormant, right? Well, most commonly in cultivation, we have stuff like American pitcher plants, Venus flytraps will go dormant, and then cold hardy sundews, so stuff like filiformis or rotundifolia, that stuff, mostly stuff that's native to like the northern hemisphere, that stuff will go dormant in reaction to like the freezing temperatures and the shorter days. And then pinguicula as well, butterworts, they don't necessarily go dormant, but the Mexican ones will enter a succulent stage. Their native habitat, they'll experience drier conditions, and in a reaction to this, they form a smaller rosette to preserve the moisture. And I figured I'd cover them here because I know a lot of us love pings, so figure we cover that as well. And so what does this look like when they go dormant? Well, for American pitcher plants, a lot of the leaves are going to go brown and start crisping up here. You may notice they're making a lot of phyllodia. These are these non-carnivorous leaves that are good for soaking up the sun in these last couple sunny days before it starts to get dark and cold. Fly traps as well, they'll slow down their growth and they'll start dying off here. I'll show for people on Zoom. It likes to focus on my face. But this is totally normal. You can see there's a lot of, dead growth on here. That's all of the summer traps dying back, and they'll come back in the spring. And then in the meantime, they'll start making smaller, more compact traps. They won't completely stop growing like the Sarracenia, but they'll definitely slow way down and kind of shrink. Completely normal. A lot of people buy a big, beautiful fly trap in the summer, and then in the winter, it shrinks down to a quarter of the size and they freak out thinking they killed it. It's fine, totally normal. And we mentioned the cold hardy sundews. You can see this lovely little mess here. Again, the people on Zoom. So once again, completely normal. The sundews form a little resting bud on the surface of the soil. This is called a hibernaculum. So once again, this helps them, survive the cold, the snow, that kind of thing. All of these leaves here die off, and you can cut these too. I left these on so you guys can see it. If your plant looks like this, totally normal, totally fine, doing exactly what it needs to do. But you can absolutely cut these, or any, like same thing with these dead traps, or anything dry and crispy on here. I like Sarracenia Northwest's rule is that if you can't stand to look at it, cut it off. And then for pings, like I mentioned earlier, they go into that succulent stage, so they'll start to shrink as well. This one is just in the beginning of transitioning to succulent. You can see in the middle here in the crown, these leaves that are coming out are much smaller than the outer ones. Once again, completely normal. For the folks on Zoom, nice close-up. And so these new leaves that they're making are going to be non-carnivorous. They're going to be a little thicker and succulent. So yeah, same thing. You buy a big ping and then all of a sudden it starts shrinking. You might, be a little concerned, but once again, completely normal. So what do you need to do? Well, luckily, if you're in San Diego or Southern California, not much. Outdoor plants and windowsill plants will put themselves to sleep naturally just based on the shortening day, the shortening photoperiod, as well as the lowering temperatures. Stuff like Sarracenia, flytraps, these hardy sundews, these things can survive sub-freezing temperatures. So out here in our, freezing 50-degree weather, they'll be fine. They'll be great. But if you're worried, or if you live in like a higher altitude, or if your microclimate is colder, you can also consider moving them closer to your house to kind of protect them from the wind, or you can bring them into an unheated garage. But for these guys that are going dormant, they'll probably be fine outside. You may just want to keep an eye if you're growing nepenthes outside, or tropical sundews. If it starts to get, lower than the 40s, you might consider bringing those in just to, make sure they don't freeze or frost up or anything like that. But it's important to make sure that you keep watering them. They don't need as much water as the summertime, but they do still need to be wet. In the summertime, you can just keep it here at all times, high, and it'll evaporate. It's hot. In the winter time, maybe consider keeping the water level a little lower. You can let the tray evaporate, before you fill it up again. And especially, when we get our rare occasion, we get rain. I don't know about you guys, but my trays fill up and some of the short plants get submerged. That's fine in the summer, but in the winter, you want to watch that. I would empty the tray out, just make sure that they're not underwater. They don't like it as much in the winter time. And this is especially important for pings. When they go succulent, they really don't need as much water as they did in the summer and the spring. These ones I definitely would let the tray evaporate for a day or two, let them dry just a little bit before you water them again. Same thing, they still want to be moist, but you can definitely cut back on the watering. And so you might be thinking like, okay, well, my plants are sleeping now. What do I do? This is kind of, kind of boring. What's going on here? Well, there's a lot of stuff you can do. Biggest thing is dividing and repotting your plants. When the plants are asleep, they don't really notice a lot of the stuff you're doing to them. Especially like for Sarracenia, American pitcher plants, you can break apart the rhizomes, pot them up. And while they're sleeping, they don't notice anything going on. So they'll just wake up in a new pot and be like, wow, this is awesome, cool. And they'll just, start growing again. Same thing with fly traps, same thing with these sundews. It's a great time to trim any old growth, especially as we get further into December and January. Stuff like this is probably going to brown all the way down to here. It's a great time to just give it a little haircut, remove any overgrown moss or dead leaves or stuff like that. Really maintains the health of the plant. It removes any hiding places for pests. As well as when they come back in the spring, you'll already have like a nice clean slate for them to just look beautiful as they put up their new growth. Something else you could do is stratify seeds. So these guys, when they put out seeds, the seeds need a cold and wet period before they'll sprout. And it's usually a couple months. So it's perfect if you harvest them in the summer, right around now, December. Yeah, Jim's got some in the raffle you can try out. Put them in the fridge with some moss, keep them in there for 3 months, and once everything starts growing again, you can sow them. And this is also a great time to take pullings from your pings. A lot of people have reported that the succulent leaves tend to strike much better than the summer ones. So, it's an excellent time as they're making all these succulent leaves to just, very carefully take a couple, stick them around the pot, see if you can get some babies, and then when spring comes, you can share them with your friends. And so you might be asking, well, why is this important, right? Can I just skip this? I want my plants to look beautiful all the time, which I understand. I wish you could do it. The rest period is really helpful for the plants. I mean, not only to survive, hard conditions, but you may be thinking, well, we're in San Diego, like it's nice all the time. But this also allows them to save energy for the good conditions of the summer, because even if they wanted to grow as if it were summer here, the days are shorter, it's colder, there's not as much like bugs and everything around. It's much better for them to go to sleep, wait out, this kind of blah time. That way they have all their energy for looking really beautiful and robust in the summertime when all of their needs are being met. However, if you wanted to skip, some people, especially that are growing American pitcher plants from seed, seedlings, they'll skip dormancy for 1 or 2 years to get a mature plant much faster. These guys go really slow from seed. So you can do it under grow lights, away from natural light, and you basically trick the plant into thinking it's always summer, so they'll just keep growing through the winter. However, these people do say they recommend dormancy after like 2 years, just to give the plant a rest and to have a stronger, more robust plant. You know, if you continue to skip and skip and skip, they kind of tend to decline, or that's what people have observed. Same thing with fly traps. Some people online, this kind of controversial, is some people online have claimed that, you know, they grow their fly trap under grow lights 24/7, no dormancy, and they're fine, they're beautiful, they're doing great. Other people have said that they've tried to do that and they have fly traps that are starting to wither after a couple years, or they just spontaneously die or have other sorts of, you know, complications. And this is also, if you're skipping dormancy with grow lights, this can also mess up the flower cycle for your plants. So if you're trying to do any kind of plant breeding, you know, if your plants aren't flowering at the same time, it makes it a little difficult. You know, you have to freeze pollen or, you know, do whatever. So it's something to keep in mind if that's something you're looking into. Personally, I like to let them do their thing naturally. I grow all of my stuff outside, so I just let them do their thing, do the maintenance over the winter, and then in the springtime, I take a million pictures. So then in the winter, when everything looks crunchy, you can look through and be like, oh, they were so beautiful when they were little, you know? But yeah, if you have plants that you're willing to play around with and you have some grow lights, I mean, by all means, you know, do some experiments, write it down. If you write it down, it's science. And then share your results with us here in the Facebook group, here in the club. We'd love to see, you know, the results that you get from that if you decide to play with stuff. And then, of course, if you want to learn more about this, there's more information. You know, there's stuff on YouTube or Carnivorous Plant Nursery web pages like California Carnivores, Carnivorous, Sarracenia Northwest. They all have these really great videos and write-ups that go a little bit more in depth. Just keep in mind that, you know, people online are probably going to be growing in different conditions than we are here. So kind of take everything with a grain of salt. Something that works for one person may not work for another. That's why you might see a lot of conflicting information online. You know, someone says this, someone says that. But we're also a great resource here. We're growing in very similar conditions. We might have different individual microclimates, but for the most part, you know, you can post a question, post a picture on our Facebook page, shoot us an email. We'd be more than happy to answer your questions and give you some insight on, you know, what it's like to grow here in San Diego. And yeah, that's all I've got for you guys. Hopefully that gave you something to think about. If you have any questions, I can take them now. Otherwise, we can let it go back to the raffle. Oh, before I go though, one more thing. We are taking signups for membership for the next calendar year. It's $20 for the whole year. Gets you access to when we do member giveaways, we do events here, and it helps support the club so we can put on events like this, put on events like our show and sale, all sorts of fun stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, so you want to talk about your skin. Oh, okay. Yes. So like Aria was saying, if you are interested in signing up for the membership, or you're interested in signing up for the email newsletter, or just checking in for today's event, please, there's this QR code here. It's just a Google form that you fill out saying if you're interested in signing up for the email membership, you would give that information on the Google form. Or if you're interested in paying the membership, all that information, again, is on this one Google form. There's another one of these, I think, at the front desk. So it's just the QR code, scan it, and it should take you to the Google form. If you can fill that out, that would just make my life a lot easier processing all that information.
Yeah, any questions, comments, concerns, complaints? Doesn't look like it. Well, if you think of anything, I'll be around here for a little while. So, and then we have a lot of great people here, more than willing to answer your questions.
I want to mention one more thing. So we do have our show and sell again in August of 2024 this year. And Harvey here has, you know, generously offered his help to
to help us organize the kids Capensis giveaway. So in every one of these show and sales, we always have a large batch of Capensis to give away to kids that walk into the door. So yeah, as you go through your winter dormancy cleaning up and the trimming, and if you find some Capensis that's just growing on the edge of the pot that you don't want, collect them, either pot them up or bring them in baggies and give it to me or Harvey in the coming meetings. That will help us collect these plants to give to kids as a free giveaway to get them interested in the hobby.
About the running eye.
Yeah, anything. Yeah. Yeah.
We'll take them.
In the San Diego show, about 125. And so I know Carlos had donated some, and I think there was a big batch donated that Josh or
Heath.
Han had given me, and we repotted them. So
Excellent.
it's the time, if you don't know what to do with them, like a lot of us, and you just can't throw them away. So
Yeah.
stick them in a pot and give them to me, or bring them to a meeting, and I'll repot them. Feel free to repot them yourselves.
Yeah.
Okay.
Awesome.
That's it for
Well,
me.
yeah, thank you so much for coming out, and I'll let you guys go so we can go shop and look at the raffle.
I got on your presentation.
Yep,
Okay,
yep,
cool.
that's it.
Yeah, so for me, I just have a couple of announcements before I let everyone go. And that's just, as we're wrapping up this calendar year, this is the last in-person regular meeting that we have. But I just want to highlight a couple of events that we already have planned for next year. I know, right? Next year, 2024. So closing off the end of this year, we have the Southern California Carnivorous Plant holiday party that's happening up in Long Beach, where it's just a holiday party on Saturday, December 9th, if you want to mark that on your calendar. And again, we'll put it on the Facebook group and email messages that go out. It's just a time to gather for all the 3 San Diego Carnivorous Plant Clubs here in Southern California. That's us, San Diego, LA, and Orange County. So we all gather at like a church on Saturday, and we just talk, share carnivorous plants, share a hobby. We have some food as well, so it's like a potluck. If you're interested in that, again, just reach out to us on the Facebook group and we'll coordinate that event. I believe I'm offering carpools, so I only have spot for 4 people, maybe 3 if we include plants. So space is limited. So the earlier you sign up or express your interest, the earlier I can start organizing that event. And then also regarding next year's events, we are interested in doing more plant sales, not just limited to the big once-a-year carnivorous plant show and sale, but some of these smaller events. So this year, we actually did 2 regular or just 2 pop-up sales at the Botanical Garden in Encinitas, the San Diego Botanical Garden. And it was just weekends, and we were just there promoting our club, getting our name out there into the wider San Diego community. And we were there selling plants. They had a carnivorous plant exhibit as well. And so we just wanted to be there to support their efforts into our hobby. But not just limited to the Botanical Garden. If you have any other ideas of any other places that might do plant sales, or we could even sell carnivorous plants that we could make our presence known, that would be a good idea, just to bring it up to us, and then we'll look into those event details to see if we can go represent our club, our passion at that event. I know UCSD does have some vendor fairs, and I am looking into that, kind of setting that up, what the logistical requirements they need, and what kind of liability they might need, and other details behind the scenes. But that is a possible potential, selling at UCSD campus, which is huge, right? There's all these students, all these staff, so it's a potential to get our name out there. So things like that. I know another suggestion was the county fair. Maybe that's another good opportunity, but it's things like that. If you think of any good opportunity for us to go and promote our club, feel free to share that with us. And on a similar topic, next year we have more regular meetings, which means more lovely presentations like the one you heard here about dormancy. So if you would like to volunteer, or if you feel like you have any expertise, it doesn't have to be about dormancy. It can be about anything. We all have our own different expertises, things we're knowledgeable in that we can share with the rest of the club. So if you want to volunteer for any of the future presentations, it doesn't have to be the next one. It can be the one after that or some other time. Feel free to reach out to us again saying, hey, I'd be interested in giving a presentation about blank. we'd be more than happy to, encourage that participation with the club.
Or if you have suggestions, if there's something you want to know about, you'd like to hear a talk about, like submit that to us too, and we can try to put something together.
And then lastly, we're always looking for more help as we kind of move into this next calendar year. If you're interested in helping out the club, feel free to, again, just contact one of us, and we could probably arrange something like, hey, we need help here, or I could help with this, like I have a skill in this particular thing. Do you think the club could use that? And I'm sure we can find a way to make it work. And that should be it. Oh, one last announcement. Sorry. For FYI, the next regular meeting is Sunday, January 21st, 2024. So if you want to mark your calendars, that will be our next regular meeting in January here, same time, same place. If you found us here, then you know how to get back here on January 21st. All right. Thank you, everyone.
Have you looked at doing street fairs?
Say that again?
Have you looked at doing street fairs?
No, but that's a perfect opportunity. If you can kind of provide me more information on that.
Farmers markets. I know a lot of them, they require, you gotta buy a spot or whatever, but.
That might be a good idea. I don't know if you have any specific street fairs or farmers markets in mind, because there's a lot in San Diego. So,
Yeah.
We would have to okay, which one, where,
Yeah.
and find the logistics of that. Like, what do they require? What does that particular street
The
vendor?
company does a lot of marketing at them, and so I can probably get a list.
Yeah, that'd be helpful.
And figure out, which ones might be, like Hillcrest.
Mhm.
or-
That would be
there's
awesome.
A lot of farmers markets.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be helpful. Yeah.
Are basically week. Month. Skip around the county here and there.
Yeah, just getting us any information would be helpful so
Okay,
that we
yeah,
can start
I'll
thinking
totally-
about this and start planning about this for next year.
Definitely.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Oh, Jim, did you have a question?
You were talking about topics that I know you were talking to somebody at Salk. Is that person going to be speaking in January for us?
Maybe. I have to follow up.
Oh, yeah, and then we are also selling raffle tickets. Jim's by the raffle table there. So if you don't already have a ticket or you'd like to purchase some more, we have them available.
Yeah, so everyone who comes here gets free raffle tickets. So, hey, thank you very much. You guys, yours yet. And more are available for buttons. Buy many.
Yeah, so I think we're
We're good?
done with
We're
the
good.
Official programming.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
We can go over the raffle.
All right, cool.
Sure.
Yeah.
Thank you,
we have-
everyone.
Everybody run before we think of something else.
Are you?